Hey, and we're live. Can you believe it? It only took us, let's see, over an hour. Yep, sounds about right. We're doing a live broadcast because I don't want to edit a large RPG, and it's just fun to do it live anyway. I'm trying to keep my challenge alive of playing a new game every month. I failed last month because I was sick for about 3/4 of it, unfortunately. So we're going to try to make it up by having an awesome game today. We're going to do Daytrippers by Todd Foley, who's going to be doing the GMing. Todd, thanks for coming on and taking time out of your busy day to do that.
Thank you for having me. We're going to have a blast.
Awesome. And we have John from Legends of Tabletop to help me out with this. He's going to be one of the players along with me. Thanks, John, for coming on again.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me again. It's awesome. Should be a lot of fun. Todd's an awesome GM, and Daytrippers is a fun game, so should be good.
Awesome. So, Todd, why don't you tell us just a little bit about what Daytrippers is, and then we'll kind of start off with our story.
Well, it's 100 years in the future, and there are a bunch of amazing new technologies on all levels. Life has become highly automated in the West. Also, highly advanced corporate capital has taken over, but it's a sort of a sarcastic look at that world. So I like to say it's like, it's somewhere between RoboCop and Idiocracy. Might be a good way to put it. But the one technological advance which stands to change everything about the not only the nature of the world but our understanding of existence was the development of the slip capacitor, which allows people to build these slip ships traveling in any dimension, that is forward and backward in time within this timeline, or sideways to other timelines and alternate Earths, or to completely different universes and dimensions. So we discover that we live in a multiverse, not a universe, and that even these little pocket universes called dream worlds are, at least to some degree, real enough so that you can travel to them and gather things and bring them back. And so the people who do that are called Daytrippers, because you can only stay away from your timeline for 24 hours before you poof out of existence. And you're one of them.
Awesome. I love that story. And if you haven't, heard anything about Daytrippers, listen to this, but also watch and listen to Legends of Tabletop, because they've got a nice long-standing role-playing game going on there with a bunch of great people, including John Beta, and then in and out of cast of characters and stuff like that too. So
I love how John Beta has become his official name.
That's better than saying, John F and John H,
Well, we have 3 Johns on the podcast, so it gets kind of hairy.
You should rename it Too Many Johns.
Yeah.
2 is too many.
Have some sort of competition to see who gets to keep the name John.
Yeah, exactly.
There can be only one. Will Highlander that shit.
Yeah.
So before we do the whole story thing, do we want to introduce characters, or do we want to just get into the story and then introduce characters after that?
I think we should get into the story and introduce characters simultaneously in the interest of time. So why don't you first introduce yourselves, and then we'll sort of set the scene for you guys.
Go ahead, John.
Oh, jeez, you're throwing it to me. It's not even my show. Son of a bitch.
That's what I can do.
All right. This is John from Legends of Tabletop. I'm going to be playing Caleb Parker tonight. He's a Special Forces guy. I don't know exactly what's going to be happening tonight, but that's pretty much it. Think Delta Force kind of thing, that sort of stuff.
Nice. And then I am Kurt from MFG Cast. Of course, why you're watching this if you don't know who I am. And I'm going to be playing George. He actually goes by Jorg. He's kind of one of those guys that kind of says fuck the rules, and he just really just throws air to the wind. His parents were kind of users and abusers of drugs and of him, so he basically just does not care about anything, including himself. So we'll be interesting. It'll be interesting to see where his character goes.
All right. Are you guys active military right now, or are you mustered out, ex-military?
I assume that we were both in. Is that what we were talking about?
Yeah, I think it's one of those things that I think, as far as my character goes, he's doing it more for like sport than like a job.
Okay. Well, then you guys, you serve in the same unit, obviously.
Yep.
All right. Now, do you either or both have any experience with slip ship travel, with slip space adventuring? Have you been to other worlds and other dimensions?
Yeah, I would say my character does, just because I have I'm a slip ship pilot, or at least I have points in piloting, and then the dynamics itself. So yes.
Okay, so you have definitely performed at least one mission. You can say whether you're a veteran or whether you're a rookie, but you have performed at least one mission where you guys were called in to defend the military forces on a planet in an alternate Earth, actually, that was under attack by Mongols, because there was a time shift, and the Earth that you were on, the Mongol civilization was threatening to take over the globe, including the oil extraction facilities that had been placed there by X Corporation. And so you guys were defending the oil fields on an alternate Earth. One of the Earth's new resources or sources of vital resources such as oil is to simply hop over to an alternate Earth and do our mining and extraction over there, bring it back over here, and leave them with the problems and extraneous costs. So there are many corporations who utilize slip space dynamics and slip space travel to exploit the mineral resources or other sorts of resources of other dimensions and other worlds, sending the costs away. And often this turns into a conflict of some sort, and therefore often the military has to be called in to defend corporate interests. Of course, in the future, we've got this sort of fusion of corporate and governance anyway, because the corporations have so much power, they pretty much are the government. And so it's probably more common than not that the military is called in to defend basically a corporate venture. And you've done that on multiple worlds in multiple situations. And we're going to say that Caleb, John's character, what are your specialties, Caleb?
He's military guy through and through. He's camouflage survival. He's got proficiency with both handgun and long gun. He's very athletic. He's been taught have Krav Maga on the thing because it's a strictly like self-defense sort of thing. He is proficient with medicine and mechanics, so he's the all-around soldier guy.
Okay, you're a straight up just like a generic green shirt.
Yeah.
Oh, John. Oh, Caleb.
Marine.
You're a Marines Marine. Okay,
Yep.
So you're the guy that Jorg has come to really depend on. In fact, I'm going to go so far as to say, although I'll let you guys fill in the details, that you guys have formed a friendship and a bond above and beyond everyone else in your unit. Go ahead.
I would say that's hopefully Caleb realizes that is a huge thing, because Jordan doesn't have any friends. He has comrades, he has people that he fights with, but Caleb's his only friend.
I think Caleb recognizes that because he is a family guy. He's got a wife and a newborn, and I think he sees like George sort of adrift a little bit, like proficient at what he does, and good at being a soldier and carrying through on a mission, but he's kind of always sort of off by himself, sort of thing. So I think it's kind of like his dad instinct to kind of like bring you along and kind of be the guy that's there.
All right, so it is early morning, and you guys have been way out in the Mojave Desert, guarding the city of Las Vegas from a gang of active terrorists. It's a as you don't know whether this is a real name or not, but the Soviet of Communist Union Materialists, or SCUM, have invented a video game which they've begun distributing throughout the West Coast region. And while playing this VR game, you are in an augmented reality where you use the powers of hammers and sickles to destroy these octosaurs that have dollar signs for eyes. When in reality, what you're really doing is planting and activating explosives and online cyber attacks against major corporations and government installations. And so you guys have been fighting both real and virtual communist terrorists in the deserts of Nevada and California. This has been going on for the last couple weeks. It's been keeping you guys pretty busy, and you haven't seen slip space travel for quite some time. But this morning, you guys are called into the office of Commander Briggs. Let's see if I can do a screen share here. You guys see that?
Mm-hmm.
Nice.
Is that better? Or
Yeah,
there
you go.
Okay. Commander Briggs says, "Hey, you guys. What were you guys doing when you got the message that you had to go see the commander?"
I feel like we're just kind of sitting around waiting for something to happen. You know, sweating our balls off in the fucking desert little command center or something, looking at a bunch of screens.
All right. "Drop your cocks and reach for your socks," says Commander Briggs.
Always a pleasure, sir.
"We can't have you guys getting paid for doing nothing. And, well, since that incident a couple weeks ago when you guys really messed up, what was he referring to? What did you guys do that pissed him off?"
What's a good thing?
Well, you know what? I mean, I have to look at Jorg for this because you're the fuck the rules guy.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I was trying to think of. I say that, we're dealing with this cyber terrorism thing. And we were called to this electronics, like not a bigwig, but like a smaller corp that deals in this, they try to front by, lending software to other companies and stuff like that. But really what's inside is they're one of the many smaller corporations that helps with this video game, trying to get out the bugs and stuff like that to, get those perfect where people, where it, hooks the user and gets them into where, where they can do the most damage online and stuff like that. And Jorg just, basically it's one of those things where it's like, like the commander's like, okay, just go in, just pretend like you are looking for a job, just do your interview and, see if you can, get the lay of the land and stuff like that. So he sends both of us. And of course, Caleb plays it by the book. And basically Jorg is just like instead of like trying to be nonchalant about it, he's just kind of like, "Oh, so what's this? What's that about? Is that something? Do you think you could get in trouble for stuff? Well, let me do his voice. Sorry. So you think you get in trouble for stuff like that, right? It's weird. Like this whole thing is just like, so you're going to do this and then you're going to cook all these people and stuff like, so it's just like, just totally upfront about it without saying like, oh, I'm totally looking into it. It's basically just him just being loud and obnoxious and just blowing this undercover operation.
He blew his own cover.
Yeah, exactly.
He blew everybody's cover.
And he even was like at one point just because his mind is everywhere. He sees Caleb walking down, getting introduced with other people, and he's like, "Caleb, I can't wait," and then he's like, oh shit, what's his name, and he's like, "Hey, Stu, and that's not even the right name that he's using. He just totally fucks everything up.
Okay, now Jorg, I'm trying to get a sense of your character here, okay? Because Jorg he's not a stupid guy. He's got brains 4, right? So he's a smart guy, but it sounds like he's like not firing on all chambers. So is he autistic?
I don't think so. I think he's just a little mentally warped from what his parents had done for him. I think it's just he doesn't know. Like, there's rules in life, okay? There's rules in life that a lot of people know, and maybe he just is missing some of that.
Is he Alzy?
I mean, he might be. He hasn't gone through enough to
he's really smart, and he's capable of thinking things through really well, but when it comes to social interaction, he just doesn't really get it.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, so maybe he's Alzheimer's.
Yeah, it could be.
Could it be like a head trauma kind of thing because of the abuse at home and the lack of like social, like legitimate social interaction because it was so fucked up at home?
Everything. His life, when he was younger, was just in so much chaos that he doesn't know what normalcy is.
Okay, so and that explains why you're a loner. You stay away from people, and you've only got one friend.
Yep.
Okay, that wraps up pretty nicely. So you probably depend on Caleb quite a bit because what little emotional connection you have is basically all channeled through him. Making a note of that because this could turn out to be important. This is character building. Now, look, ever since you guys fucked up, I've been trying to think of the perfect assignment to send you guys on. And I'm going to be frank with you. I'm a hardcore realist about these things, and you need to be punished in some way. What I don't know is whether this particular mission, and he's waving his hand at a stack of papers, fits that category. You'll have to tell me when you get back from this dream world. And
shit, come on, boss.
Yeah, it's a place called Arcturus 1, and I don't believe that there's going to be anything to find there, which is why I'm rather upset. I wish to send you guys into the face of danger, prove your loyalty, seriousness, and commitment to the cause, but instead, you're going to be investigating a probable hallucination from a bunch of hippies on a fucking dream world. I can't spare anybody else right now, so you two are going to have to do this alone. But you do have this nice ship. And he waves. Did you guys ever name the ship?
I don't think we did.
All right. Well, we're going to call it the Osprey.
Oh, nice.
And we're gonna try to screen share again and show you a picture.
I've learned to not RP with you while you're doing stuff on the computer.
Minimize that. Try one more time. Wow. It's not showing me all of the screens I have.
Could be Google.
Maybe it has to be a recent screen. I just pulled it up. Here we go. Yeah, interesting. It shows only the last 6 windows that I've looked at.
Oh, nice.
This is the Osprey, and you have all of its stats somewhere in your notes. But it is atmospherically capable. It's got a reinforced hull +2, a computer +2. You have to tell me what the software is on there because I don't think we've decided that. A cargo hold of 2 cubic meters, up vector radio, a medical response tank, 1 viewport, just really 1 viewport looking out the front. It also has a pallet of concussion torpedoes, a mounted machine gun, and a torpedo launcher. The computer's name on board the Osprey is Computer.
I don't think I'm going to remember that.
It's actually something that the military often does with vessels that get passed from pilot to pilot. Just to make it easier, they name all of their computers Computer.
Nice.
Well, you're the pilot here, Jorg. You guys are checking out the ship as the commander goes on explaining, we don't have a lot of details. We're going to have to move pretty quick. But these guys are mining some sort of, some sort of drug out there on this planet. And apparently making quite a bit of money. Now they're piling up their scratch here on Earth, but they're mining this shit out on this dream world. Apparently have been doing so for several months without incident. But we recently received an up-vector transmission from them, or I should say their headquarters did, and relayed it to us, stating that they have a tangible threat to the existence of the planet Earth in our primary timeline. They claim some sort of gigantic interdimensional beast wishing to kill all humans is coming this way. Now, I need to point out that these people are drug manufacturers, and it is my firm conviction they've got their hands in the till. You know what I'm saying? You'll probably go out there and find us nothing. However, we need to check it out. Any threat to the planet Earth is one I must take seriously. And so, for now, the Osprey is yours. Here are the coordinates. He hands you a little sphere that you drop into the computer. It's got the coordinates you'll be slipping to.
But we don't have any other information, boss. Like this is just some druggies on maybe on some kind of LSD trip.
That's exactly what I believe. However, it has been reported by multiple parties who apparently had no direct contact with each other. In other words, they have verified that this was not a single person's hallucination.
Anybody ever been out to this place before? Just these guys? What kind of information we got?
This place is completely unknown. These coordinates were handed to us by the people at Spirit Guides Incorporated. Those are the ones who probably using their own product. You'll be speaking with Callista Kinnear. She's the, they call her the team guru. They've got a dome set up, some sort of base up there. You'll coordinate with them, investigate the area, fly around, have a look-see, report back.
What are our rules for engagement on this mission, sir?
Rules for engagement are protect the planet Earth. But first, make sure that these people aren't just tripping.
All right, fair enough.
I don't want any interdimensional beasts destroying the planet on my watch.
Wouldn't look good for the record.
Yep, I wouldn't like that either. Interdimensional beings, man? That's crazy.
And then he turns and storms out, muttering something about Cthulhuid mumbo jumbo.
So Caleb turns to Jorg and he's guess shit rolls downhill, huh?
Oh my God! Man, I guess I stepped in it and we just put you in it. Sorry, Kim.
That's all right. Somebody's got to keep you out of trouble.
That's true. You don't do it, ain't nobody gonna do it.
Yeah, I know. Look, when we get back from this thing, we'll go out for a couple of beers. We'll laugh about it later. Bunch of drugged out hippies.
I hope so. I hope we don't get taken out by stupid drugged out nobodies.
Well, I mean, I guess if they gave the coordinates, I mean, they can't be too hostile towards us, so.
Yep.
I imagine you guys are walking on board the ship, checking it out. It can seat up to 4, but of course you guys are going alone.
Mm-hmm.
The computer is already powered on. the disc that, or the sphere that you've been given, will identify you and make you effectively its administrator. And that's Jorg I'm speaking to.
Yep.
As per typical military decor, the computer speaks with just a very nonplussed sort of mechanical voice. Because they don't bother putting personality in their machines. They actually don't want you forming relationships with them.
Makes sense. I guess while Jorg is, prepping the ship, then Caleb will go in the back, check and make sure that the suits look up to snuff, make sure that all their gear's ready to go, weapons, packs, what other normal supplies they would take when they're, out in the field.
Do you guys have a rank?
The special forces have ranks. I mean, I assume they probably do, but I don't know that much about the military. I think they all pretty much work as equals, like it's like Delta Force kind of thing.
I'm just wondering how the computer would address you, but it's not super important. The computer tells you that it has been awaiting you and is prepared and ready. All systems have been checked at both unit and calibrated trip levels. The coordinates you have provided will be taking us to Octorus 1, a dream world with high stability, apparently discovered within the last 3 months by Spirit Guides Incorporated, who holds the registered patents to all discoveries.
Thank you, computer. I know we're not supposed to form a relationship with you, but I really like you. You're a straight shooter.
I am pleased to make your acquaintance.
All right. So basically, Jorg. Boy, I almost ruined it. Jorg. I did it again. Make sure that everything's up to snuff before we take off. And you were Caleb. Are you still back there, making sure everything's good, or are you back by now? Or
He'd probably be back by now. He gives everything a quick once over. Like, this is not something new, so he assumes everything's going to be in order. But he'll go and tug on the straps and just check to make sure everything's what it's supposed to be, and then head back up to the cockpit.
Gotcha. All right, Caleb, you ready to do this?
Yeah, as ready as I'm going to be. Looks like they got everything stored, so should be a quick in and out.
All right. I love when people say that. A quick in and out. That's usually how it goes. All right. Well, let's do this.
The computer alerts you. Notification message from Commander Briggs.
Oh shit! You better check that.
Yeah, exactly. Play message, computer.
A little hologram of Commander Briggs pops up. He's smoking a cigarette, and he looks straight into the camera, and he goes, "I don't need to remind you, but look around. The tank you're sitting in is expensive. Do not damage this vessel. Good luck." And he disappears.
Jorg turns to Caleb and goes, I don't really think he understands who he's dealing with, I guess.
I think he's just breaking balls. You know how he is.
Sure does. He sure does.
Yeah, sometimes I think that's his only mission in life.
Yeah, exactly. I think secretly he wants us through this ship, so he has to bust our balls more.
Where the hell is he going to send us next?
I don't think there could be any place worse. But now that I say that, it probably is.
Coordinate data loaded, ready for pilot interface. You're up, Jorg.
Engage.
You're up, Jorg. You grab the controls.
Okay.
And you have to calibrate the ship in order to work within the vectors, the tunnel of slip space that you'll be traveling through. So it's you and the computer have to cooperate in order to do this. This is your first slip in game, but not your first ever. So you're aware of what it's going to feel like when you do this. You are going to use your slip ship dynamics score.
Okay.
And I'm looking for a chart in my book.
Is he going to get the software bonus as well, or is that a different?
Well, you know what? I need you guys to tell me what skills the computer had, because we had chosen 2 plus 1s or 1 plus 2, and I don't remember what was, or if anything was selected.
It was a +2. Oh, it was the heavy weapons, wasn't it?
Ah, that's right. +2 heavy weapons. Good call. Okay, so that means there's no bonus. There's no bonus here.
Sweet.
This is going to a dream world is hard, so it's difficulty level 5.
Okay.
You're gonna roll your number of brains dice plus your slip dynamics, which is I think a +1, right?
Yep.
Okay, so slip dynamics is a brain skill. Your brains is 4, so you'd be rolling 4 dice. You're going to take the best one, and you're going to add 1 to that. You need to beat 5.
Okay. So I'm rolling 4 dice, and I need to beat 5. You said.
By the way, every time I ask you to roll anything in the game, it's going to be like this. You roll stat number of dice, add skill.
Okay.
Caleb just looks at you. He's gripping the things, and he says, "I hate this part."
All right. So I only have 3 dice. So I'm going to roll 1 again after that.
Oh, okay.
And then I'll add my skill to it. All right. So that is...
Although I got to tell you, I'm seriously questioning your geek cred if you only have 3d6 available.
I know. I have more. I just didn't realize I'd be rolling so many dice. So I am a dum-dum. So that's my fault. We've got lots of dice upstairs.
Under the best circumstances, you would need 6d6 in this game. Gotcha. It uses only d6s, but if your stats super fucking duper, you'll need 6 of them.
Nice. So I got a 20 total with my skill.
So okay, they're individual.
Yeah, you want to take the highest one.
Gotcha. So then 6 plus 1 is 7.
All right, so you beat it handily, and that means not only do you successfully slip, but you actually get an experience point because you learned something in that. As a matter of fact, ordinarily on a yes and, I ask you to tell me what's happened, but since you're a new player and you're not really familiar with the way these things tend to go, I'm going to tell you.
Okay.
You're both strapped in, I imagine. Everything goes tingly for a moment and starts to break up like pixels on a television screen. And then everything goes gray and then fades out, and you feel this weird sensation of like slicing through the center of your being. It's super hot on one side and super cold on the other, like a razor blade of frozen glass slicing right alongside a razor blade of burning hot steel. That lasts for a second, and then everything is spinning. You're traveling down a tunnel. You're controlling the machine. You're pressing buttons. You're keeping the ship in the center of this vortex, and then just as soon as it started, it's all over. You find yourselves on an icy plateau, on a floating plateau. It's more like an island in a gaseous sea. I need to show you a picture.
Oh, man.
Okay, now the computer is going nuts. All sorts of numbers are popping up in your HUD. It is explaining that the atmosphere outside is tremendously inimical to humans. It's got an atmospheric pressure of 158 APs, probable toxins in the atmosphere. And the ground, by the way, is not really ground. This is almost a gas planet, mostly liquid and gas, with just big floating, frozen, jagged mountains and ice sheets, one of which your ship has landed on. And in the distance, just under one of those jagged ice structures, you can see the Vidome lit from inside, which is where the company must be doing its work. And there's these 6 weird reddish pillars sticking up out of the frost surrounding the Vidome. You don't know what those are. You cannot go outside without your environmental suit on. The atmospheric pressure would crush you instantly.
Well,
Caleb opens up
you
his
see
eyes.
those? Do you see those pillars?
Caleb like snaps his eyes open, like unclenches his hands from the thing. He goes, yeah, this doesn't look like a fun place. He wasn't kidding when he said he wanted to punish us.
When I thought of places that would be like, like terrible, this is up to 11 here. This is no good.
Now, I wish that I was showing you a video instead of a still image, because everything is constantly moving. The ground is mostly liquid. The clouds are so thick that they descend in front of you and make it difficult to see what's going on. Everything is constantly in motion, and these big, jagged mountain-like things are actually floating like ice cubes in this frozen, slushy landscape. Now, there's an ice sheet that projects out around each mountain, and that's what the Vidome and the pillars are sitting on. So that's like a little island, and you're on the edge of it right here, the near edge off the bottom of the screen.
Are we like close enough that we could just like take a quick walk? Otherwise, Caleb would ask, so do you think we can get in a little bit closer? I don't want to lose the osprey out here.
Yeah, what?
It's just like 100 or 200 meters away.
I think I'd still want to be closer.
Well, do we want to be too close where we, Oh, actually, I have an idea. Computer.
Oh, by the way, right next to you is another slip ship. It's a round yellow thing, sort of reminiscent of a VW Beetle.
That makes sense.
So I wonder, computer.
Yes, Jorg.
Oh boy, I forgot what I was gonna say. Let's see. So with the atmosphere here, if we were to go and walk out there, is it stable enough to hold us? I know we're here on where we're parked, but are there places where we go, because everything seems very, very much in motion? Is there spots in there that we would think, or
did we put exterior scanners on this ship?
I don't believe we did. No, sir. Well, there's a long-range scanner.
Okay, we do have a long-range scanner. Good. Okay. Processing environmental parameters now. This world has a stability which is rated high on the Dreamworld stability scale. However, the landscape itself is constantly in flux. These gigantic islands are actually frozen minerals which will not hold their shape indefinitely. The Spirit Guides Incorporated crew has been working this particular ice flow for 2 weeks. They move periodically and have been doing so for 3 months' time. This seems to imply that the ice sheet eventually melts down and they must seek another spot.
okay?
Well, I mean, I guess if they're parked here, it must be stable enough for now.
Yeah, it must be. So
They've been mining here for 2 weeks.
Okay. Do you really think you want to get closer? And I don't know what sound is like in this world. I don't want to get too close where they can hear us. I don't know if they already know where we're here.
Well, I mean, they called us, right? I mean, first order of business is we go to the Vidome.
Well, there is this to say. The hippies parked their own ship right here on this ice flow.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. I guess I'm just being too safe. I guess I just don't trust anybody.
That's all right. It's not a bad quality to have. Not in this line of business.
All right. Well, should we suit up and go see what we got?
Let's do it.
All right. You step out of the ship. The atmosphere is thick and moving. It sort of buffets you around like standing in a tidal pool, kind of. But it hits your whole body with these big, slow-moving waves and fog of different densities constantly being whipped around, slow and fast, and sometimes still for a couple seconds, and then it whips up again. It's completely random. The water at places seems to be mixed with air. It's hard to tell where the ground ends and the air begins. Some clouds are just sort of reaching down to touch the water, and there's some sort of cyclic motion going on, transference between clouds and water. It's hard to tell what's going on there. But these big, gigantic mountains seem to be like open caves. Like you could walk to the left and go inside this big, gigantic cave. And right at the mouth of it are these strange structures that look like they're made of coral or basalt of some kind. And you do see a trail. You see a well-worn trail of footsteps from here to the dome.
Hey, check these things out. How do you think these got here? They don't seem like they match the rest of the landscape.
Ooh, I don't like where this is going. You'd probably be careful.
Well, Caleb steps up before they go into the Vidome. He wants to get a closer look to see. Did they have any sort of like hand scanner or anything like that that would? I forget whether or not the suit has a.
Your suit has some basic stuff. Let me look down the list real quick.
I know in our original game when we went to the Dream World, we analyzed the dirt. I thought so.
No, it's got the ability to analyze you.
Okay, yeah, that I knew for sure.
And do medical stuff, but no, not exterior stuff. For that you relied on the ship scanner, and it was sending you via radio.
Gotcha. Okay. Is there anything on it then visually? Is there anything carved in it?
These pillars, they're like a foot or 2 feet in diameter, and the shortest one is maybe a little taller than a man, and the tallest one is like 20 feet high. They are rough. They're not perfectly cylindrical, but roughly cylindrical. So they seem to be like, it's kind of like if coral was somehow induced to grow in the shape of a pillar, this is what you would get.
Okay.
Oh, and I need both you guys to make a psyche roll. That means roll as many dice as your psyche and tell me the highest one.
Okay.
I got a 6.
I also got a 6.
Okay, that's good because neither one of you freaks out, but as you're examining the pillars, both of you simultaneously feel a strong sense of being watched. You're trying to figure out where it comes from. You realize it comes from the pillars themselves. You definitely, but one of you says it and the other one finishes the sentence. Feels like we're being watched. And then these pillars are watching us.
You felt that, right?
Yeah, I wonder if because they're around this dome, I wonder if they protect from threats.
I don't know. I've never felt anything like that before. That's pretty funky.
That is weird. I mean, can stuff like this be alive? I mean, I know we're in a dream state, but like, I've never seen anything like, well, like they say in the ocean, coral and stuff like that is kind of alive or whatever. But this is crazy.
Just at that moment, something comes around from the back end of the jagged cave mouth. It is a floating humanoid with oversized arms and tools. It is a mecha suit. It is a floating mecha suit. Not a huge fighter robot, but a miner and gatherer. And it comes around the back, where apparently it was busy doing something, and goes up to that tallest pillar, the one in the distance. And it begins slowly hovering up and down the face of the pillar as its arms are probing the mineral, the material.
Yeah, when it comes around, Caleb just drops into a crouch, gun up.
It's got a big glass visor that extends from the upper chest up past the driver's head. there is a human inside. The human looks at you and first looks a little surprised and then kind of smiles and nods her head and waves.
Yeah, he slowly relaxes, barrel dips down. He gives like a cautious, like, raises his hand up. And he says to Jorg, he's like, I don't know, I guess that's one of the hippies, I guess. I guess we go in the dome and find out what we can find out.
Yep. Yeah. Well, obviously this has to do with what they're looking for. I'm assuming. So maybe we can get some more information inside.
The guy in the mecha suit is gesturing, and then another guy in another mecha suit comes around the corner. They're hovering, and they both look in your directions. The second guy waves at you and then points to the dome.
Yeah, I assume they both nod and acknowledgement and then head in.
Yep.
I feel like as we like go into the dome, the camera pans slow to the fucking pillar, and you just hear like the door close to the Vidome, and it just kind of lingers on the top of the pillar.
That's nice. Okay, at the entrance to the dome is an airlock. So you guys are going to have to go through that. It depressurizes, which feels a little bit weird, and then your suit relaxes a little bit, and you're under normal atmospheric pressure. The interior doors open up, and in you go. The Vidome is well lit by a sphere of light that goes, by a tube of light that goes around the exterior all the way around. And except for a broad shaft in the center, which is the waste facility, they have no partitions. It's just one big round room, about 12 feet high, about 24 feet high, 12 feet in radius. And scattered around this room is very cushy, comfortable furniture, some laptops, computers. There's some 3D holographic projectors going on, and a couple members of the team sitting around playing a 3D video game. When you enter the room, one of them comes up and introduces herself. I was hoping you guys would be here soon. I'm Callista Kinnear. I'll be the one you're dealing with, as I'm the team guru here. And as she says that, the guy in the background sort of like nods his head respectfully in her direction, almost like a cult. She's got long blonde hair in a ponytail, and they're dressed very casually.
I guess Caleb pops the top of the suit off. I don't know if we ever established, does the helmet come off, or is it just like faceplate up? I don't know if we've ever established that.
I'm open. I imagine different people can have different styles.
I feel like the head pops off, almost like an old fashioned spacesuit kind of thing.
Okay.
But he pops it off and puts down on the table. Says,
Kenneth, she says, get our friend some coffee. And the guy gets up and goes over to the coffee machine.
So you put in a call for help, I guess. My name is Caleb. This is my friend Jorg. We've been sent to find out what's been troubling you.
Yes, I know that it sounds silly, but we've had the same vision. Now, I know you may not believe in prophetic visions or dreams or whatnot, but we saw the exact same thing, and on multiple occasions. I believe there is a gigantic creature, a planet eater, coming toward Earth, and it has communicated with us to warn you.
I mean, is it on this planet here in particular, or?
No, it comes from far away, some other dimension. It has an intelligence that she shivers. I can't even comprehend. Its vastness so extreme. It's inimical to all life. When it sensed us, it knew we were human. It knew where we came from. And we all felt the same thing. And just then Kenneth walks up and hands you your coffee in little styrofoam cups. He says, all humans must die.
Wait, what? Say that again?
She says, we all heard it say the same thing. And he says, all humans must die.
But wait a minute here. So we live in this world where there's humans and there's aliens. We know there's aliens. We've seen them. There's all kinds of things. Like why is this thing thinking like all of us must die?
Perhaps we've intruded in its space. Perhaps it was coming this way and simply happened to notice our presence here. I don't know why, but I do know that we're the first to experience this, and it gives us an opportunity to warn the planet Earth. I mean, we need to do something, right?
Okay, but if it's a planet eater, if it eats planets which are huge, then how are we gonna stop that?
You're the military. You're supposed to be able to figure it out. And while you guys are saying this, Kenneth has walked back to the corner where he's picked up some strange triangular, like pyramid-shaped device. And then he pushes a button on it, and it blows smoke into his mouth, and he inhales.
Caleb, looks into the cup of coffee and then just puts it down on the table next to his helmet. That does seem like a bit of a stretch. When did this first occur? You guys have been here for a couple of months now?
Well, we've been here for months, and it was totally stable. In fact, it was almost dull. We just have to do the precise work of searching for the Wishium. That's our trademark. Yeah, how do you like it? Wishium?
It's clever.
This stuff is amazing. It opens up portals to other dimensions in the mind. It is the prime hallucinogen. It is somewhere between slipship travel and taking a pill. But of course, much, much more concentrated. 1 tiny gram is a dose, which is why we need to be so precise. And just then the airlock door opens, and in comes this fat guy with dark hair. He's sort of sweating. And you realize that this is the guy who first waved to you. He was out there in the mecha suit. Oh, Weldon, you're back. How did it go? And he says, got a good package of it right here. I'm pulling in some more. Ghislaine is still working outside. We have doubled our quotas, and we're hitting them. And he's really fucking happy about this. And she says, well, at $2 million an ounce, anyone would be.
Caleb's eyes just get big. That's ridiculous. He
Yeah.
says, is the air in here okay? He starts to wander to wherever the control panel is to start to look at gauges and make sure that the atmosphere is not toxic, that they have enough oxygen, that they haven't gotten so high that they fucked up the gas balances in here. I mean, I don't know if that's more of an electronics than a mechanics, but
there is enough oxygen. There are normal levels of carbon dioxide, and there is a normal 0.01% trace elements, which you find in any atmosphere.
Sure. So he kind of taps the gauge, and then he sort of looks back over. You guys venting that? You guys are scrubbing the air in here, right?
Kenneth looks up, and he's still holding in his hit, but he goes, oh, he points up at the filters in the ceiling. Takes care of it all by itself.
All right. At least we have that. He just kind of he sort of holds up his hands. I don't even fucking know what to do now.
Calista says, look, here's how it happened. And Weldon comes in and walks up. He's now got a cup of coffee too. And the two of them sort of together interjecting, start completing each other's sentences as they tell you the story. Everything was boring here for a couple months. We would just find a good ice floe that had some pillars on it, Wishium pillars. We would extract the Wishium until the ice floe was threatening to crack. and then we would move on. Either that, or we would completely destroy the pillars, there being no more wishium left, because it has to be pulled out very, very delicately. They're tiny little crystals, like small as a grain of salt, scattered within the mineral content of these pillars. And so we have to be very, very careful working it out. But sometimes we manage to completely eradicate all of the pillars, breaking them down to dust and getting out all the wishium before the flow melts. It all depends on how the weather's going. And Weldon says, it's tough out there. Sometimes it'll push you around while you're trying to get your hands free. Sometimes you just fly into a pillar and smash the whole fucking thing. And we have to pick up the dome and move to another spot. It's a gigantic pain in the ass. But at 2 million an ounce, who's complaining?
While you guys are out there working, on the pillars, doing what you do, you ever get any weird feelings? You ever feel like somebody's watching?
Oh, she puts her hand on your arm. Someone is always watching, dear. The cosmic intelligence is aware of you. It feels your heart, and we are the eyes through which it views itself. Our journey is infinite. We are but links in a chain, you and I, touching and moving on.
I mean, I suppose that's fine. But I meant something a little bit more concrete.
Weldon has gone over to the corner and he's joined Kenneth in his drug abuse session. Listen, you may not agree with our ways and our beliefs, but Weldon had the same vision, Kenneth had the same vision, and then last night I had the same vision, and I knew I had to send word home because we have to take this seriously now. 3 of us have seen the same thing. A dark intelligence contacts you through the void, tells you that all humans must die, and that it is headed toward the planet Earth. We've all seen it, and without reporting it to each other until afterward.
So when have you guys seen this? Is it when you're asleep? Is it when you were taking something? Is there a connection there?
Oh, I know where you're going with this. They're a bunch of druggies, so they're just tripping balls. Well, let me tell you, mister, running a corporation is an important business, and I do not let my recreational time interfere with my professional capacities. I was asleep last night, came to me. She mumbles that last part, but it was in a dream.
Okay.
Yeah, like Caleb would have said, what was that last bit?
It came to me in a dream. I have prophetic dreams. It happens, Besides, it wasn't until after I was telling everybody else about my dream that Kenneth and Weldon told me they'd seen the same thing. Kenneth says, I thought I was tripping, man. I mean, I thought I was flashing back or something. I was in the airlock, getting ready to go out on the ice, when I heard this voice just said, all humans must die. And then I saw it. It was only for a second, but it was bigger than the sun.
What did it look like?
It was dark, black balls, dark, and now they're like corroborating with each other. She says, and it had tentacles growing out, and he's, tentacles all around on all sides, and it kept coming and coming. It was bigger than the sun, bigger than any sun.
I mean, they just sent the 2 of us.
So this is me actually this is my character actually laughing super loud because he's like, and instead of in his head, he says out loud, he's like, what the fuck are we supposed to do here? I don't get it. Caleb, what the fuck are we supposed to do here?
You guys just look at each other totally fucking dumbfounded. And at that moment, you hear this weird kind of slow exhaling sound. You look over in the corner, and Weldon is sitting in this beanbag chair. And he's going like this with his lips. He's blowing outwards slowly, like he's blowing a big bubble. And it's like a gum bubble, right? And you see it's sort of translucent, but you can see it. He's definitely blowing a bubble. And it gets bigger than his head. And then it's like 2 feet across. And then it just sort of releases from his mouth and starts floating slowly through the air. And everybody else turns and looks at it, and they smile because inside this bubble is a beautiful landscape with like trees and a nice green forest and a temperate climate somewhere on Earth, a little cottage nestled beneath the trees, and happy little people dancing out in the farmyard in front of the building. And they're all smiling and gazing at it. Kenneth says, "That's a good one." Now, you guys can clearly see it.
How did you manage to? I mean, I've seen smoke rings. But
Okay, both of you need to make psyche rolls right now. Roll as many dice as your psyche. Tell me the highest one.
ooh, I got a 5. These are going the wrong way.
Yep, I got a 6 again.
All right, so you both managed to hang on to your cookies, but as you're looking at the little world in a bubble, you get this flash for a second where you're in that world. You're standing there on the front lawn of this little cottage, and there's people dancing all around you, and it's like, I don't know, it's like the 1800s or something, and you're in like rural Europe or something, and they're all wearing peasant garbs and singing some kind of nursery rhyme, and you're there. And then it's over, and you're back in the dome, and you're looking at the bubble.
That is some weird shit.
What? How did that happen? What's going on?
We're in a dream world, so I mean, I guess there's that.
Yeah, are they projecting what they want to see on us? You know?
I'm not sure how these things work per se.
Callista says, "That's the Wishium in action. You've just seen it. Now you see why it's worth 2 million an ounce. This thing makes dream worlds real. People are falling all over themselves on Earth for this stuff. We have to protect our trademarked resource, you understand. But if it's coming for Earth, that doesn't necessarily mean it's coming for us here, right? I mean, we're safe here, right? Yeah?
I
She's
mean,
looking at you for approval. Please say we're safe here."
for now, I guess. But so does the Wishium like create dream worlds that you could go to in our free space?
Have you ever studied slip space dynamics, sir? Don't you recognize that there is no boundary between the objective and the subjective? That's a mere construct of the human brain. It's been proven at the ziggurat many years ago. Why, the subjective and the real are the same. Why, dream worlds are just as real as any other worlds. Kenneth pipes up, "And who's to say the world you say is real isn't a dream itself, man? Think about that, man."
Well, I mean that's an interesting discussion, but it doesn't really solve our current situation.
And then they start talking among themselves about dream theory. You don't understand half of what they're saying now, but they're getting really excited. Something about the line between the objective and the subjective being nullified by the multidimensional vortex.
So while their mental masturbation is going on, he pulls Jorg to the side and he's like, I don't know what the fuck they're talking about, but there's no way this could be real. I mean, they're clearly high like all the time they're here.
Yeah, exactly. They could see like just a round orb as big as their head and think, "Oh, it's the size of a sun. It's gonna eat my face." You know? I mean, come on.
I mean, he wanted us to look around. It doesn't seem like there's anything here to find, but due diligence, we could take the ship up and cruise around and see if anything else sticks out, I guess.
Yeah, I feel like that's our best bet because I don't know what we're gonna find out with these guys. They're hurting my head, man. I can't.
Yeah, this isn't part of my expertise. I mean, if we can't shoot it, I'm not really sure. Shoot it or fix it.
Yeah, it's a little bit above our pay grade, obviously.
I mean, morals aside, I mean, that's not our business. Man, I wonder. I mean, we can't. Man, I don't know.
I mean, what? I seriously, I'm lost here. It's like one of those things. It's like, okay, we're here to report what's going on, and I don't know what to do. It's like, do we just, do we take the ship and we, go around and just, see if there is this, looming, this threat. I don't. They say it's far away and it's coming to get us, but if we're going around and we don't see it, then what the hell are we doing here?
I mean,
well, the commander did say to fly around and get some video.
Yeah, I mean, we're definitely gonna do that. As far-fetched as it seems, do you think that if whatever this is that they found can create dream worlds, that it could create some sort of dimensional portal? Like, this is well above my pay grade, but
yeah, well, if it could do that, who's to say that it mixing with something in the environment here didn't create the being that they're talking about?
Or maybe it just stands out here like a beacon because they're fucking smoking it every day.
Yeah, who knows? Maybe what they're finding maybe is part of him, or that or them, and I don't know. Maybe those things outside there, maybe those are part of it too, and they're beacons just keeping track of what's going on to warn this being to be like this is what's happening, so it's angering this being, and it's the being's like you all have to die because you're doing what you're not supposed to be doing.
And at this moment, you realize that they're still talking among themselves. And after they've gone and they've joined Weldon in the corner, all three of them talking among themselves, but you can't really hear words anymore. In fact, it sounds like they're all just going beep, 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 beep.
Like
beep.
legitimately they're beeping?
Yeah, they're legitimately beeping at each other. And then as you're watching them, their heads turn into like little desk lamps that flick on and off every time they say beep, 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 beep. Now their heads are flashing lights, and they're flashing and beeping at each other. And you both see this.
What the fuck?
I need you both to make psyche rolls.
Oh, for crying out loud. Okay.
I'm scared. I want to change dice because these are going the wrong way, but oh, I got a 3 and a 2. I should have switched.
Wow.
Oh no. I got another 6. These 3 dice that I have are doing me good.
All right. Kurt, you're okay, but when their heads turn into flashing lights, John, your character's name?
Caleb.
Caleb. Yeah. Caleb, you can't handle this. Their heads turn into flashing lights, and you flash back to a nightmare you had when you were a kid. You might want to tell us about it because you fall to the ground, incapable of moving.
Let's see. I feel like it should be related in some way to like lights and flashing and lamps or whatever.
Yeah, it may not be a nightmare. It may be a traumatic event, something involving a light bulb.
Yep. No. So what happened was they were out as kids playing, and they wandered away. They were out in the woods having dirt wars and whatever. And he went to go and hide to get away from his buddy. And 10 minutes drug into 20 minutes into a half an hour, and it started getting dark out, and he got lost in the woods. So he wandered around for a while, and couldn't find his friend. He couldn't find his way back out. And then a couple of hours later, his friend made it home, and was like, "Hey, Caleb is lost. I don't like we were we shouldn't have been in the woods, but we're in the woods. And we told, you said not to go out there, but we did. And now he's lost and we can't find him and blah, blah, blah. So like everybody from the neighborhood comes out and they've all got their flashlights, bobbing in the darkness through the woods. And that's what he remembers. So he just, kind of feels like claustrophobic because they're flashing and they're in the dome and the dome is small and he's in the suit and it's nasty outside. And he just kind of like, sort of reverts back to that sort of like lost kid.
You feel right now like that frightened kid lost in the woods. At the first moment you saw the lights bobbing toward you and flickering on and off in the distance, you thought something huge was coming to eat you. And you feel that right now. Something huge is coming to eat you. And you can't even handle it, and you fall to the ground, whimpering like that little kid.
Yeah, he like falls and like hits the table. The coffee spills. The helmet like drops into his lap, and he just screams because it kind of looks like a head.
Jorg, your buddy just screamed and hit the floor.
You're muted, bro. We're missing every single word.
Ah, God bless it. I did that so you couldn't hear me drinking water, and then I screwed it up. Okay, so basically Jorg goes down by Caleb and just shaking him like, Caleb, what's going on, man? What's going on?
Henry, they're going to get me. The monsters in the woods. Oh, monsters in the woods. The lights, I can't. Wait, stop it.
At this moment,
It's okay, Caleb.
3 people have noticed you, and they turn their light bulb heads toward you, and they begin coming this way.
No. And he just like gets super small and like tucks his head in.
Caleb,
Okay.
you have to
So
have to get out of here. I'm going to need another psyche roll from you.
I'm definitely not using those dice. Oh, I have the highest 3.
You're just together enough to remember to put your helmet on. You have to get out of here.
It's in his lap, so like he doesn't even think, like it's just there, and he's like all curled up, so it just goes with him. And I guess like by instinct, by training, he just kind of like snaps it on real quick, screaming the whole time.
You must get out of here as quick as possible. So your goal is to get that helmet on, get out the fucking airlock, and then take a breath and figure out what to do. You got to get away from these people.
Yep, he does it.
And Jorg, now Caleb suddenly stands up, slapping his helmet on as he bolts for the airlock.
Okay, I am actually going to try to talk him out of it while grabbing him.
Oh, okay. We're going to have you guys roll against each other.
Okay.
This is going to be, you get to use your choice, might or grace.
Okay.
And Caleb, I'm giving you a +1 because you're freaked out.
All right. I mean, I don't want to fight him with the Krav Maga, so just like athletics, like he's just trying to bull out of it. He's pure might, like he's not trying to.
You know what?
Like, slink away.
You get to add Krav Maga +1.
Oh, I don't know that I want to do that. I'll do it.
Well,
right.
but your attention is defense. Your attention is to get away, right? So you're dodging. You're dodging, and so that means the attacker's going to roll first, and we'll find out what the defender needs to roll.
Yeah. And I'm only trying to grab one of his arms. I'm not trying to like bear hug him. I'm just trying to grab his arm so then I could,
Okay, and I don't see any martial arts skills, so you're just using straight grace or might here.
Straight. Yep. So they're both both looks like a 4 right now. So
take the highest one.
Highest I got is a 5.
All right, so that's what you're trying to beat, Caleb.
All right, so I'm going to be rolling. Let's see, my might is 3. Med and Krav Maga, which is +2, and then the additional +1. So I got a 6 total. I roll a 3.
Okay, you exceed by 1, which is good, and you managed to evade. You have now made it to the airlock and in because the inner door was open. Yeah, you have not managed to close the door yet because we're kind of in action frames right now. So the next frame, give me a psyche roll real quick, John.
All right. I can't read these dice. I rolled a 2.
Oh, okay. Yeah, you're still your only goal is to get out of here. 2, shit. Oh wow. I'm sorry to do this to you, but you're gonna try to open the outer door without even closing the inner door. That's how much of a hurry you're in.
Oh,
And George, you realize how terrible that would be, and so you got to try to stop him.
yeah, definitely.
Okay, so both of you are rolling dice again, whatever you want to use.
Yep.
Could he, not to interrupt the action flow, but could he just slam the inside door closed without actually going after me? Because, I mean, you've got your helmet on. I guess it doesn't matter.
Yeah, that's something you could do. I mean, there will be a moment when both doors are open, but
Yeah.
I'm just throwing it out. I'm not
almost
saying to do it or not do it, but
yeah, that's a good option.
Yeah.
Which one do you want to go with?
Yeah, I think because, Jorg is actually a pretty smart guy. I think he would think like, okay, obviously he's stronger than I am. I'm not going to win in a grapple fight, basically. So, try to do the best I can because, I still have my helmet off. And these other guys, as much as I am fucking hating them right now, I don't want them to just, up and die just in case we need them for something.
Okay,
so
it's not PvP. So right now it's just you rolling grace and not totally fucking up.
Okay, sweet. I love when you said that because I'm sure that's exactly what I'm going to do. Oh, God. I rolled 3 5s and a 6. So 6 is my highest.
Okay, so running to a door and pressing a button is really easy. You only needed to beat a 2. So you've done it, but you've done it by more than 1. So it's a yes and, which means you get an experience point and you get to tell me what the and is.
Okay.
Something else happens.
Yep. It's going to be small, but it's something that's going to be good, is that because I'm so close to this inner door and the outer door are both kind of happening at the same time, it doesn't can totally mess me up because I have my helmet off still.
Okay.
You
remember to hold your breath, right?
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Because I know it's gonna ruin the internal, atmosphere of what's happening in here. And unfortunately, I care about myself more than I care about these other goofballs. So I don't want to be like, turn around and go, hey, hold your breath. I'm gonna hold my breath and hope for the best.
I mean, could the end be that he gets to the door before the other door opens? I mean,
I would give you that.
Okay.
I would give you that. You're actually so quick, you make it there before Caleb has oriented himself to hit the right button.
Okay.
This is some cinematic leap for the door at his hand.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
Bam! Yeah, you got an experience point for that one. And then Caleb, you hit the right button and you run outside. And you're standing out there, and the door closes behind you. Now you're out there alone. You feel safe. You feel away from those people. You put a barrier between you and them, so you can relax a little bit. I'm going to give your mind back to you.
Well, I was going to say, so when he goes outside, he runs out. The door closes. He turns around and looks. And then as the slow camera pan back to the pillar, do I get my mind back? Because he already had that weird feeling. I feel like he runs to the ship.
Yeah, you turn and you look at the pillar and you feel some sort of presence watching you. The pillar itself is watching you, like from top to bottom. It's watching you like if it had hundreds of eyes. And then the pillar speaks to you. It speaks in your head, and it says, "Are you a good man, Caleb Parker?"
And he just, his jaw drops. Like, he can't even run. He's just completely rooted in a spot.
Yeah, give me another psyche roll.
I rolled a 6 and a 5 that time.
Okay, you're hanging on.
All right. He slowly.
Matter of fact, that's a yes and. Not only are you hanging on, but
I I want to say the easy way out and say he snaps back, but
Yeah, you can do that.
all right. So he
Okay, let me hand you an easy handle. Maybe there was something in the air and you breathed it and now you've been dosed.
yeah. So he like cautiously, like tentatively reaches out a hand to like touch the pillar, like he pokes it, and then he's like,
Okay, wait. You reach out and you poke the pillar, and as you touch it, I'll wait for Kurt to sit down again. Can you hear me, Kurt?
Yes, I can hear you now.
Okay. So Caleb ran outside, sort of got his wits about him. He thought, hey, maybe I've just been dosed. Maybe stuff was in the air and I'm high right now. So he reaches out to, first he looks at the pillar and the pillar speaks in his head. Are you a good man, Caleb Parker? And he's not sure if he really heard that. So he reaches out and he touches the pillar. And as soon as you touch the surface of the pillar, you see movement radiating away from your finger, like little ripples. But it's not like ripples in water. It's like a crowd of tiny little bodies clearing the way, moving around, leaving a diameter of like half an inch around your finger. And you realize that the surface of this thing is covered with lots and lots of tiny moving creatures.
so he brings his hand back down, and he's like, are you real? Am I seeing you right now, or is this a hallucination?
The more you look at them, the more clearly you can see they're like the size of ants, and they're kind of U-shaped. They're like reddish brown in color, and they've got little tendrils coming off, and they move around like little inchworms. Move around. They're tiny little things crawling into the holes in the pillar and coming back out. You feel great curiosity coming from them as they look at your giant finger. And we're going to cut back to Jorg in the dome.
Okay. So after all this, Jorg turns around at the other three. Are they still blinking light things?
No, they look normal again, and they're back to playing their video game.
Okay, and they don't know. Did they not even notice that Caleb even ran out?
If you listen to them talk, they're kind of mumbling like, well, I don't know what he was in such a hurry about, but, let them figure it out. They've got their ways.
So they're playing this video game. When is it Trevor that came in and was looking for that stuff? Did he put it somewhere? Did they lock it down?
The dude who came in from wearing the suit?
Yeah.
Okay, that guy's name was Weldon. He's also the one who blew the bubble.
Okay.
He said that he had a pack full of it, and he was pointing to his hip, so he's wearing it on his hip. And then he said that he left Ghislaine out in the fields to gather more because they've doubled their quota.
Boy. I almost want to try to use my Bowie knife to sneak up on him and try to oh God, I don't know if I could just.
Well, let me ask you something. You saw the bubble. You saw the weird little world. There's a flash when you were in that little world, and then it went back to a bubble again, which, by the way, now the bubble's gone.
Yep.
And then you saw everybody's head turn into flashing light bulbs, and they're going beep, beep, beep. And then they came toward you, and then Caleb ran out the door, and they shrugged their shoulders and went back to their video game, and now they look normal again. But what do you think of all this? What do you think is happening?
To tell you the truth, he doesn't know what to think, because it all, he almost agrees with, even though it sounds kind of crazy, he almost agrees with the statement of, what does it mean? Like, even if you're in like your normal physical state, if that's the real thing, he's just kind of like,
I guess that makes sense for a guy with your background to be kind of dissociative.
yeah, exactly. He really, he doesn't believe everything, but he also believes everything. It's kind of a weird thing. It's like, it's
Cool.
kind of all of it, he just is kind of like, well, life is just going to be fucked up and you're just along for the ride.
Awesome. I love this guy's attitude. Okay, so what do you do?
So I think what I'm going to do, because I feel like they're just out of it and blah, blah, blah. I'm going to sneak up and I'm going to try to just take my Bowie knife, which I keep sharp all the time. And I'm just going to try to cut a little slice in the bottom of the bag and try to catch it in my hand and try to sneak away with it.
So you want to steal some Wishium?
I do.
Well, they all seem pretty absorbed, so I'm going to say that's easy. Go ahead. Yeah, you don't even have to roll.
Okay.
So this stuff is like, it's like salt. And he's got, I don't know, like 10 or 12 ounces of the stuff.
Jeez.
Which is worth more than 20 million at home.
Yeah, that's true. Now, is it something that I think because I would have pockets on my suit, I think I would quickly transfer it into a pocket.
Okay.
Just because I don't think I want to have it in my hand, absorbing into my hand, doing who knows what.
Well, you are wearing your suit, so you're covered.
Oh, yeah, that's true. Yeah.
But how much are you taking?
Screw it. I'm going to take all of it.
Oh, take the whole pack?
Yep.
Okay, in that case, I'm going to ask for a grace roll because you're pickpocketing,
perfect.
basically.
Perfect. This is where I fail, and this is going to be the best. 5.
Yes, that was difficult, but you do it without alerting anyone, and like you move really slowly, and you move your hand mostly behind your back, and you're blocking the view of the bag, and then at a moment when they're all particularly absorbed, you just transfer it to your pocket.
Nice.
And then what? Oh, and then we cut. And then we cut back out to Caleb at the pillar.
Okay.
You had asked if they are real, and there's nothing particular in response except for this sense of curiosity and the question sort of echoing in your head: are you a good man?
So he pulls this. So I don't want to smash anything if they're real, but I think he turns his hand over and leaves it on the pillar to see if anything kind of crawls onto his finger, so he could bring it close to the helmet then and get a good eyeball on it. You know what I mean?
No, nothing does. In fact, most of them revert back into the pillar with just a few remaining outside.
So he kind of stands there. He's got his hands on his hips. Clearly there's, something alive, or he's super high. And he kind of straightens himself up, and he looks at the pillar, and he kind of says almost absently, I think I'm a good man. I never really thought about it before. He just starts a whole internal monologue about, justification of,
what makes a good man? How do I tell if I'm a good?
Yeah.
Tell me the way, little creatures.
Okay. You have a wife and daughter back home.
Yes.
You think about that a lot and carry a picture of them.
Mm-hmm.
Tell me one of your best memories.
So I think while all this is happening and he's having this dialogue, he, unzips a pouch and he's talking to the picture, while all this is happening. And since his daughter is newborn, his best memory, like at this point in time, is just witnessing the birth, of his daughter. He was actually home at the time. Like, he spends, a lot of time on mission, being deployed to different places. They spent this huge stint out in the desert. But it was like 4 months ago, he happened to be home. Like, he knew she was getting close, and just the way schedule worked out, like, he was home one night, and it was like 2 days after he got back. Like, it was pure coincidence that he was even there. And they're sleeping, and rush of water breaks, and his wife starts screaming, and being military guy, he's like, all right, cool, we've got the bag, we're ready, I've got you, let's get in the car. And a couple hours of labor, and being able to hold his daughter for the first time, and to actually be there with them, and share the moment, not like get a phone call or a message or whatever. Like, that's kind of where his head's at.
So you're picturing seeing your daughter for the first time, and that's making you feel warm and nice, and you sort of fall into that memory, and you see it all around you. You feel like you're literally there again. You're at home. Your wife has just finished that last push, and she's gasping for breath, and you see and hold your baby daughter for the first time, and it's actually happening to you right now. And we're going to cut back to Jorg.
Okay, so Jorg finally is just like, I didn't want to, I kind of didn't want to, screw these guys over, but I don't really care anymore. And he puts his helmet on and he goes out to find Caleb, because he's like, I can't spend another moment with these guys, because they're not Caleb. So,
well, when you make it outside, it takes 10, 15 seconds for the airlock to do its thing. But when you make it outside, Caleb is standing in front of the nearest pillar, and I don't know if you can see his face, but he's perplexed, and he's sort of reaching out toward it and just like frozen in position.
Okay. Just because, the last time he saw him, he wanted to run away. So he's going to, instead of, going to grab him or yell at him, he's just going to be like, in a very soft voice, be like, Caleb.
I don't think he responds right away, but like, if you say it a couple of times, he turns, and he's like holding his arms like he's cradling, like I guess kind of like brings his hand down, and he goes, isn't she beautiful? And he kind of like holds his hands out to you.
Okay. He actually
Jorg, yeah.
Jorg, Caleb is holding a baby, a wet, crying newborn baby, and you realize you're not standing on an ice floe on the planet Arcturus. You're in a suburban home, and there's a woman who's just given birth, and Caleb has turned toward you with this baby.
Okay. Just because I feel like he's just like, okay, we're rolling with this now, so he's gonna be like, oh, Caleb, she's beautiful.
You know what? You said the magic word, which is roll. I need a psyche roll.
Awesome. Okay, let's make sure. So that's 3 for me. Okay. 6.
Yeah, man. The thing about psyche is, like, if you're like really, really normal or really, really weird, you'll be okay. If you're unsure, it can mess you up. But you're holding your shit together. You're just like a roll with it kind of existentialist dude. Mm-hmm. So, what do you do with this? He's offering you a baby, or showing you a baby.
Yeah. Just because with Jorg's family, he didn't know like love really, and he didn't know affection. He's like says in a very tiny voice, he's like, can I hold it? Can I hold her?
So let me ask you this, Todd. Could I get a brains roll? Like, would he? So obviously, Jorg wasn't there at the time. So is
Or
that
was
enough
I?
of a, like juxtaposition to kind of like snap him out of it, or if not, that's fine too. Because he's in. So
You can give me a psyche roll.
nope, I got a 4. And yeah, so he just
Yeah, you just accept it. George is there.
yeah, he looks down at her and he looks up at him and it flashes over his face for a minute, like he looks sort of confused, and he's like, just be careful, just be easy, and passes the baby over to Jordan.
Okay. And even though he's never held a baby in his life, he hasn't had a dog, he hasn't had anything, whatever fragile like that, he takes her in a way that he is unfamiliar. He's just he's like, well, I'm gonna cradle just like he did, and hold, and I think I remember hold the head, and always support the head, and he is
Hey,
very
give me a
gentle.
Grace roll.
Okay, awesome. He drops the baby. Please
I
don't
need
let that
to
happen.
know. I need to know.
Yeah, exactly.
Good job supporting its head and all of that. Now, at the moment you take the baby, both of you feel the pillars are watching you both. And there's almost a murmuring sound coming from the pillars as the thousands of tiny voices are talking amongst themselves. Jorg, tell me one of your worst memories.
Okay. So on Jorg's 14th birthday, well, just because I'll give just a super small backdrop, like, the user and abuser thing. So basically my parents were drug abusers, and they also abused me sexually. And I hated every single day of it because all I wanted was love. And they thought they were loving me, but they truly weren't. They were truly hating me from the get-go. And one night, or on my 14th birthday, I woke up early in the morning to go into their room to say good morning, and just kind of expecting something good to happen. Hopefully they'd be like, "Oh, happy birthday! We got you something," or it's under the bed or something like that. And I go into their bedroom and they're sleeping. And I go to wake them both, and nothing. I can't get anything from them. It's like, well, okay, well, maybe they're, maybe there's, maybe they're both, just too high. They, just couldn't, they're just in a, dead, or in a dead to the world kind of coma, and it's going to take them a bit to wake up, and nothing. And on that day, it should be something where Jorg should be happy, because these two people that have been torturing him since day one, are gone. But he just lays his head on the bed and cries until he snaps out of it and is able to call the authorities to have them come and take them away. So
Caleb, at some point, without even knowing it, the whole scene is shifted, and you're now in a dark bedroom, and there's a dead man and a dead woman laying on the bed, and Jorg is knelt down beside the bed and he's crying. And you understand that these are his parents. And you don't even question how you got here. It's just you're observing all of this.
Mm-hmm.
And there's no disconnect. Like it's just it moves from one thing to the next, right? Like we're just
it's just like a dream. You're in Walmart, and then you turn around, and all of a sudden you're in your living room.
Yeah. So he just go ahead.
No, go ahead.
I was going to say he takes a tentative step forward and puts a hand on your shoulder. And so he understands the situation like in its entirety, like what's happened, or because I'm getting his feeling, right?
You're totally getting his feeling, and you understand that those are his parents just intuitively. I don't know whether Jorg has actually told you this story before. If he has, then you know exactly what you're seeing. But even if he hasn't, it's pretty clear.
Yeah. Okay. I didn't know if I was picking up his complete memory. So like not only in seeing them dead, but in like what had happened to him. If he hadn't told me, I feel like he wouldn't have, but maybe, I don't know. If I was picking up any of that residually.
Jorg, do you think you would have ever told Caleb this?
No.
Okay.
No, it's
So
just, as much as he's my best friend, that's just something I just am not ready for.
Okay, and Caleb, the Jorg that you see kneeling by the bed is a full-grown man in a slip suit.
Yeah, that's what I thought. Yeah.
He's an astronaut kneeling beside a bed in a suburban home.
Okay. So he stepped forward then, not knowing the whole situation, puts a hand on his shoulder. He's like, man, I'm sorry, man. Losing your parents is rough. I'm here for you if you need me.
The scene dissolves abruptly as the airlock door opens, and the three people inside come scrambling out. They've all put on exosuits, and they're shouting to each other on a frequency that you guys aren't on, but they seem frazzled and excited, and they're rushing toward you. They're waving their arms and gesticulating wildly.
And we're back in.
You're back on the ice floe.
Okay. Caleb just kind of like shakes his head and looks over at them kind of quizzically and like puts his hands up, like points at his ears, goes like slash across the throat, like I can't hear you.
They're hitting buttons until you guys finally get the on the same channel. And you hear Callista. She's saying, "It's coming! It's coming! There it is!" And she points up in the sky, and both of you give me psyche rolls.
Fuck. Oh, I got a 6.
Attaboy. I got a 4 this time.
You both see an enormous black circle coming over the horizon and headed this way. And it terrifies the three people in front of you, who are screaming that they need to pack up and get the others in the mech suits and get back in the ship and get back to Earth. This thing is coming now. But the funny thing is, you guys don't feel fear at all. You guys feel that this big black disc is just like, oh, I don't know, an eclipse or some natural phenomenon. It doesn't bother you in any way. You feel no sense of danger from it. In fact, you feel kind of warm and comfortable, especially the experience that you both just came out of. You feel like this bond to each other and that nothing's going to harm you.
So he kind of like looks over at Jordan. It's like,
and they're freaking out. They're tugging at you. They're going, "You got to pack up. You got to get ready to go. The thing is coming. There it is. Oh my God. Get all the things. Get all the men. Get all the stuff."
So he's like, "Yeah, get your shit. Get out of here." And then like he points to Jorg, and he like holds up 2 fingers, like switch to channel 2. Like I'm assuming they have some sort of, like hand signals and shit worked out from previous missions. And then he just says, it doesn't look like anything. The fuck are they seeing?
I don't. I'm sorry, but I don't believe anything they fucking tell me. So I think we should just get in our ship and just get the readings and get the fuck out of here, man.
Look, I want to tell you something.
I'm going to go grab some coffee. You guys talk amongst yourselves for a second.
Okay. Look, I think that shit was in the air.
Oh, totally.
When we were in there, I looked at at one point I turned around and they looked like lamp people. I can't explain it.
Believe me, you don't have to explain anything to me, guys. It is what it is, and as much as you don't want to see it, and it might have terrified you, it sounded like it might have done something to you that may have made you think of something else. But I get it.
Look, it gets a little weirder than that. Hold on a second.
See, that voice is hard to do, isn't it, John?
A little bit.
Yeah, it is. It is.
So
I'm glad your commander didn't come with you on the mission.
When I came out here, I got that weird feeling from the pillars again, and it talked to me. Now I don't know if they've got us both tripping, but there was creatures that are on the pillar, like inside the pillars, and I think they're alive. I don't know how to explain it.
That doesn't surprise me. I feel like if anything I believe about this fucking place is that those things are part of this, whatever you want to call it, this dreamscape or whatever. Those are the things that are truly real besides you and me. To tell you the truth, I don't even know if those people are real. I feel like that, to me, I feel like these things, whatever they may be, besides us, are the only real thing here.
But do people have to is this what somebody thinks is real? I don't. Oh man.
Well, it's really hard to think something else of it. So
Caleb looks back up towards the black disc. Does it look like it's moving towards us? Or does it look like it's, like you said, like an eclipse? Is it moving in a way that it looks like it's...
No, it does actually look like it's bigger. It looks like it's coming this way. And the 3 others are running in and out of the dome to the ship and back, and they're lugging crates. And there's 3 other people who've come in from the field. They've entered the dome and they put on exosuits, and they're helping. They're grabbing crates and get them out of here. And every now and then they gesticulate over at you like, you got to look at the thing in the sky. Come back over here. You got to get out.
So
they're getting more and more frantic. They're starting to bump into each other and drop things.
So Caleb, I assume they move, they're off to the side as they're running through or whatever. He looks, from Jorg back to the pillar, and he gets real close to the pillar, and he says, "What is that's coming? Can you tell us?" And then he looks sheepishly back at Jorg, I don't. This is what's happening right now. I don't know. We need answers.
Everyone, and you can tell this because the 3 stopped dead in their tracks at the same moment. Everyone hears in their head, the test is coming.
You heard that right.
Now,
Yeah.
the three Spirit Guides Incorporated team members, they're looking at each other excitedly. They've stopped paying attention to you. They're shouting at each other. They're having some sort of difference of opinion on their own radio channel.
What does that mean? The test is coming. I don't understand.
Are you speaking to the pillar?
To the pillar, yeah.
All right. Just then, Weldon, who is wielding a large, oversized pipe wrench used for affixing the Vidome to its struts, comes running up from behind you and smashes one of the pillars. The moment he does that, the disc in the sky doubles in size and it becomes dark.
Yeah, Caleb just screams.
Okay, you hear 1,000 voices screaming in your head. Caleb, you also hear all the voices screaming, but at the same time, you hear the Spirit Guides people screaming. So you're all screaming in each other's heads right now.
Caleb just turns, without a word, and fucking tackles the guy.
He has a thing on his side, like a belt pouch, and it's open. And before you're tackling him, what he's trying to do is gather up as much of the dust as he can. He's shoveling it into the pouch because there's crystals hidden in among that.
Yeah,
so it's valuable. So he's trying to do that as fast as he can. You're going to tackle him, which means a grace roll. He's not even bothering to defend, so this is easy.
All right. Well, you say that, but then I have to roll dice.
That's true. You do have to roll dice.
I got a 4 and a 3.
That's a yes and.
Nice.
You not only tackle him, but tell me what else.
It knocks him out. Like he's in the suit, but like it's free, right? So when he hits him, he hits the ground and his head bounces
Boom.
off the inside of the glass and knocks him out.
He stops moving. Okay, back to you, Jorg. What are you doing?
Oh boy. Boy, I don't know. So is anybody else making a move to do anything?
The disagreement they were having seemed to be over whether they should just get the fuck out or whether they should smash these pillars and try to grab as much as they can.
Yeah.
And Weldon was the one who decided to smash the pillars. The other two decided, fuck Weldon. They're booking for their ship.
Nice. Well, then I'm probably just going to help secure the guy that Caleb has, just because I don't want these, whatever these things are, to get smashed either, because I feel like as much as they might be part of this big thing in the sky or whatever, I feel like they're no threat. So I don't want them to get hurt.
Okay, well, you've got this unconscious man. He's tied and he's bound, and the big disc in the sky has now descended over the planet. And for a moment, you feel like everything goes dark, and then you're trapped in a bubble. You and the terrain around you, and like for as far as the eye can see, you can sense the big dome of the bubble above you, and stars are whirring by on the outside of the bubble. It's like this portion of the planet that you're on, and you and your ships and the dome and the ice and everything has been sealed off, and it's being sucked through time and space. And I need psyche rolls from both of you.
Oof.
Four for me.
Oh, I got a pair of 6s.
Nice.
That was a 4.
4 for me. Yep.
Caleb's in the zone now. He's at work.
Jorg, this is too much for you. Your reality is being kidnapped right now. Is that you don't understand how? I mean, yeah, the world is a weird place and strange things happen, but pieces of the world don't just get torn off the world and sucked through time and space. And you're terrified. You're frozen in place, and you piss yourself.
Fun.
We need Beta now to create a piss wave.
The three hippies are like clutching each other, crouched in a circle on the ground. I'm sorry, the two hippies, because the one is unconscious. They're clutching each other on the ground. They're pointing up at the sky. One of them is pointing to the ship. The other one is shrugging her shoulders. They're not sure what to do. But at that moment, the sky lightens. The dome disappears. The ice disappears. Your ships disappear. And there's just 5 humans, one of them unconscious, standing on a white field that extends forever in all directions. And, well, not forever in all directions, because you look off in the distance above the horizon, you see a giant baby head floating in space. And you see dark shapes moving toward the baby head and away from the baby head. And you realize you're drifting toward it. I can share an image with you, maybe.
So does it look like my daughter's head?
You guys are on a white platform drifting toward this baby's head, and all these ships are flying in and out of its mouth. It is huge. It is like planet-sized, and it's alive. Its eyes are closed, but it opens and closes its mouth, and it twitches from time to time. Big fucking giant baby head floating in space with spaceships flying in and out of its mouth, and you're headed toward its mouth right now. And Callista and Kenneth are screaming.
Is the dark shape gone?
Yep.
So it's just the white point. Okay. So he's taking it in like, what the fuck? And he looks over at Jorg, and Jorg, I guess, is, kind of like rooted in place. So he just he gets in front of him to like block the head and just like shakes him. He says, Jorg, are you in there?
Jorg, give me a psyche roll. Pull yourself back together.
Okay. Hope for the best. Ooh, I got a 6.
Yeah, you're back. You're back. It just freaked you out for a second. Now you're like, okay, I can go with this. We're floating into a giant baby head. Okay.
Yeah, exactly. Well, this makes a lot of sense, Caleb, now. Big, huge fucking baby head. That's the big black thing that was in the sky. A big baby head that's going to swallow us whole. The world makes so much sense. All right.
I mean, we could still be tripping if they released some shit in the dome. Or we're in a really fucked up place right now.
I think this is a little bit bigger than that, I think, friend.
As you guys are talking and the hippies are screaming, you drift into the open baby's mouth, and it's very dark and super quiet. And then it's suddenly very bright, and your platform has become the floor of a gigantic room, like an airplane hangar-sized room, and there's people walking around. Well, people of some kind. There's big giant snake creatures wearing silk robes, and there's an eyeball with 3 legs that's shaking hands with a giant walrus wearing a top hat. And there are lizard-like people having sort of a convention over there in the corner, playing some kind of drinking game. And people that look like ambassadors from alien worlds with purple skin and green hair and multiple eyes on stalks. And a giant diamond-shaped thing drifts over towards you, and it flashes as it says, "Welcome. Your test will begin soon. Please make yourselves comfortable. This will not take long." And then it hovers away again.
Shit.
Callista comes over to you guys. What is this place? What have you done? Where are we?
What have we done? We were brought out here at your request. Do you know there was things living inside of those pillars? Did you even see that?
What on earth are you talking about? Look, we come out here to make a buck. We're making a buck. Then we met this thing from another world that wants to destroy Earth. That's all I know. What did you guys do?
Look,
What the hell have you done?
we didn't do anything. I don't know if your vents weren't working, if you dosed. I don't know what's happening right now. But all I know is if we're not high, then there were things living in those pillars, and maybe you pissed them off. Maybe this is their big brother. I don't know.
The floating diamond comes back, and it says, "It is time for your test." And the circular area of ground around you separates from the rest of the ground, and the room whizzes away faster than you can even figure out how it happened. But you feel yourselves being pulled upward and forward into what's probably like the cranial lobe in the center of the baby's brain. And when everything stops moving again, you're surrounded by people sitting behind panels as though judges looking upon you in the center of this big white chamber. One guy stands up. He's wearing red silken robes. He has two heads. One of them is human. The other one is sort of a yellow blob that keeps shifting. And with two voices simultaneously, it says, "The trial of these specimens will now begin. Are you good?" And you all hear this, although he hasn't moved either mouth. And we're going to have to handle you one at a time. You guys see Callista. She steps forward and she demands to know what the hell's going on. All we were doing was mining on some unknown backwater planet, and then you suck me up here and ask me if I'm good. What the fuck is going on? Who do you think you are? Do you realize that I am the team guru of Spirit Guides Incorporated? I will make reality for myself. And she closes her eyes and clenches her fists, and she starts like, I don't know what she's doing. She's trying to think this all away. And as you guys are watching, her body turns to dust and falls to a pile on the floor. And the voices in your head, as the leader of the tribunal raises both hands, and the voices in your head say, "Fail." You guys just look at each other. Kenneth looks at you. He's like, I'm not stepping up.
I think that I would go next. I would just volunteer myself and I would step up.
George, the being turns towards you as you step forward, and it looks at you with both sets of eyes. And you're having a strange thing happening with your vision, as both of its heads are blurring into one thing. And so it's kind of human, but it's also kind of not human. And you remember the scene with your parents dead, and you're there again, and you feel that feeling. And you remember the scene where you totally blew your cover and fucked up the mission. And you remember so many bad experiences you had in your life. And then you remember Caleb's baby and how nice it felt to hold that baby for a minute, and that all you really can care about is Caleb and his feelings, because nobody else in this world has even tried to understand you. And so you volunteered because nothing matters to you except Caleb.
Okay.
And then the vision is over, and the voice says, "Pass. You are a good man. Next."
Before that even happens, he just kind of falls on both knees and just starts crying. Because before this was even happening, he thought he would have to say something. And when they asked the question, he was going to say, "I truly don't know." So and while he's there on the ground crying, he's gonna kind of brush himself off, get back up, and say, I know that I don't speak for anyone else here. And I turn to Caleb and I say, but this being is good. Always has been good and always will be good. This being is the only person I've ever been able to trust in my life with all the other beings in this world that have not been. And I know it will do nothing for the test probably, but I will say my piece just because I feel it as so. And even if it may cost me my existence, I need to let that be known. And I kind of bow and kind of step off to the side.
Yeah, Caleb, when you say that, he nods to you, and as you start to walk away, he walks to you, and he gives you a big, bear hug, and he like touches his faceplate to your faceplate, like forehead to forehead, and he just like he says to you real quiet, he's like, "I never had a doubt." And then he steps forward into the spot on the floor or whatever is there.
The judge turns his attention toward you and the room phases out. You start flipping through sections of your life. There are things that you've done that you're not real proud of, but there are also things that you're very proud of. And most of all, you're proud of your baby daughter. And so she fills your thoughts. You're also proud at the moment of what your best friend has just said about you. And while these terrible memories are going through your head, you're still filled with positive emotions from what you've just heard and from thinking of your daughter. The voice says, "Pass," and you're back in the room again. Now, the judges all around are sort of murmuring to each other. Not all of them are sure. It seems like there may have to be another test. Kenneth is gesticulating. No. Not me. I'm not doing this. I saw what happened to Callista. I'm not stepping up there. And the diamond comes and hovers directly over his head, and then exerting some sort of tractor force, it lifts him off the ground and pulls him forward toward the Grand Inquisitor, where he is dropped unceremoniously on the ground. You see him trembling for a little while. You don't know what's going on in his head, but when it all stops, his face is pale and he's shaking. The voice says, "Unsure. The human race is not stable." And the lights turn red, and all of the judges around you begin muttering to themselves, "Unstable, unstable." And the voice that speaks for all of them says, "Shall we allow an unstable race to persist in a universe that seeks more and more control? Are the forces of chaos or the forces of order stronger in these specimens?" "They are mixed! They are mixed!" the voices are shouting amongst themselves. "Very well." The Inquisitor throws up his hands. "There will be one more test." Everything disappears. You're back on the ice planet. The two members of the crew and the one unconscious member are still there with you. Your ship is here. The dome is here. The wind is whipping you around. You're wearing your exosuits again. You're no longer anywhere near the baby head. It doesn't feel like you're being tested, but apparently you're being tested. Callista comes running over to you guys, and she's just pulling at you and pointing toward the ship. She's really angry. She thinks you somehow made all this happen.
He just holds his hands up and he says, "Look, I can't say that I understand what's going on here. If this is all for real, there's a bigger, wider. I mean, we know it's a multiverse. I mean, we're able to slit time and space and go to these different places. And you're in business to make money. I can understand that. We do what we do to make money and to protect the people that we care for. You guys need to leave here and never come back. You own the rights. You whatever it is that you do. This is a place that shouldn't have anyone on it. Your disregard for the creatures that live in the pillars, maybe that's the cause of this. I don't know. But we can't do this again.
Jorg, anything from you?
Yeah, I think he's just gonna basically just reaffirm what Caleb's saying. He's just gonna be like, this is bigger than all of us, and you're playing a game you won't win. Doesn't make any sense for us to be here any longer. We need to leave. We need to let this place be.
You don't know what exactly it is, but you feel as though a sort of veil is lifted off the world. Everything seems a little sharper and clearer. Some weight you didn't even know you were carrying was just lifted off of you. And you both look at each other because you can tell by the look on the other guy's face, he felt it too. You feel the pillars looking at you, and you feel warmth and friendliness coming from them. Callista is just like clutching at her throat. But we may have to leave for now. But we'll be back. Because if we're not, someone else will. Thanks for nothing, gentlemen. And she turns and motions to her friend, and they drag Weldon's unconscious form back to their ship.
He looks at Jorg, kind of unsure. Like he's pretty sure, like in his general, whatever. And he's just like, how many people do you think know about this place?
I'm guessing probably, oh gosh, I don't know.
Actually,
Too many.
Well, you don't know a number, but you do know that the number is very small because it was discovered just 3 months ago. The coordinates were trademarked by this company that never would have shared its sources except for the emergency transmission that they had to send. So it's basically you guys, your commander, and this company.
But this doesn't constitute the entire company, right? Like they've got people on home Earth.
They're not a huge company, but they probably have a couple dozen other people. Yeah.
So killing them right now doesn't solve the problem. Is what I'm saying.
No, it doesn't. But maybe a brains roll will. Both of you give me a brains roll.
Okay. Oh, I got a 6.
Ugh. I got a 4.
Okay. Caleb, you're the one who gets this. It's it's not something you've ever had to do before, but you know that in your report to your superior officer, if you were to report that this place was dangerously unstable or psychologically threatening to human life, you could probably tie these coordinates up in so much red tape that no one would be able to explore here for decades.
Okay. So like he's wondering whether or not, it would be morally acceptable to kill them to save the planet, to save the human race. And like cycles through that. It's like, all right, well, that's probably not going to work. And then, as they're walking away, he leans into Jorg and he's like, we're going to tie this place up in so much red tape, they'll never see it again.
Well, it makes sense. I mean, we can't let anybody else come to here, because otherwise it's just going to be a detriment to our race, and we can't have that.
He expands his hands to both sides of him to like indicate the pillars, and he's like, I don't understand it. I don't know how these places work, but these beings are tied to something much larger than us, and they have just as much right to exist in this space as anyone else. I mean, we have killed to protect our friends, our country, our families, but we can't even comprehend what these things are or aren't. We can't let them come back.
Yeah, we shouldn't let anybody come back ever again.
So I feel like the
There's a
camera
whining electric sound in the distance, and then a zoop as their ship disappears.
Yeah. The long camera takes that in from like over our shoulders.
Back in the ship.
I like he would like turn to the pillars and be like, we're gonna do what we can to make sure this place stays safe. We hope. It's all we can do.
You feel thankfulness and friendliness coming from the pillars. And then as a voice speaks in your head, thank you. Please take this. You will need it later. And each of you sees a small bubble. Each of you sees the same bubble, but each of you sees it come toward you and you alone. It's a little bubble about the size of a baseball. And as you look into it, it contains some of your fondest memories and some of the things you like most about life and about Earth. And it goes into your head, and you feel a warmth radiating from it. Now, you both can write down on your character sheet, if you ever play this character again, that you have one beautiful idea. And even you don't know what it is. But at some point in the future, you'll need it.
Nice. He just like, he would incline his head like after sucking all that in and kind of like, it's probably like single tear, because it's stuff about his kid and his family and whatever. And just like, inclines his head to the pillars and looks at Jorg and let's get out of here.
Okay. And as Caleb turns to walk away, Jorg doesn't really know what to do, so he just kind of sticks out a hand like goodbye.
And waves.
Yeah, yep, basically. It's the single hand goodbye, and then turns back to walk back to the ship.
You feel the pillar waving back at you somehow, even though it doesn't move. And
Nice.
You hear it say, "You are a good man. You deserve your home as much as we deserve ours." Back in the ship, you're going to need to make another slip space roll
Ooh, fun.
to get us back home to Earth.
Okay,
This is
so that's
difficulty
great,
5.
right? Plus the slip dynamics.
This is going to be brains plus slip dynamics.
Brains. Okay, gotcha.
You want to beat a 5.
Okay. So I got a 5 exactly.
Uh-oh. You're in the ship. You're strapped in. You're hitting the controls. Everything goes fuzzy. Everything goes gray. You feel cold and then hot slicing down the center of your being, and you're thrown into a whirling tunnel. But something feels wrong. You guys start to feel like your molecules are out of phase. Uh-oh. You might be getting the fluxies. You might have hit a flux storm. I need to make a couple rolls here.
Just when we thought it was over.
Just when you thought it was over.
Yeah.
All right. Everybody must make a roll versus the fuzzies. So that means a psyche roll versus DL3 to you're now starting to lose grip on reality.
Oh no. I rolled a 1 and a 2. It's the worst part of the trip.
Oh my god.
Nice. I actually got a 6 and a couple of 1s.
Okay, Caleb, you are suffering from the fuzzies and you are lashing out at the nearest person. You reach out
boy.
you actually hurl yourself at George, which is not well advised while you're in a ship tumbling through slip space. You actually pull yourself out of the restraints, and I need you to make a grace roll plus your martial arts skill. Yeah, and meanwhile, Jorg, I need you to make a grace roll at -1 against.
Dude, I just killed us both. I rolled, so I got an 8 total.
Oh my lord. Okay, so it doesn't matter what I roll, does it?
Well, it affects the result, right? Because it's a narrative thing.
I'm sure it does. All right, here we go. 3 with my -1.
What's that?
That's a 3 with my -1.
Oh, I am sorry. So Caleb pulls himself, rips out of his restraints, launches himself across the cabin, smacks you in the face, and fucking clocks you. And you go out cold as the ship tumbles through slip space. And then after a couple seconds, everything reappears and your ship is on a mountain surrounded by like a forest of trees with eyeballs. And the eyeballs all turn toward you. They're big and small. And up in the sky above you, you see a tremendous form. It's like miles high, humanoid, naked man walking toward you. His skin is all red from head to toe, and he looks mad. You don't know where you are, but this is not Earth. And that's the end of the game.
Nice.
Oh boy. Well, that was a mess we got ourselves into, wasn't it?
Oh, it's such a great game.
Oh, yeah, definitely. God, that was a lot of fun. Awesome. Well, thank you, Todd, for GMing that amazing game.
And if it matters, I don't know if we'll ever see these guys again, right? But if it matters, Caleb, you made 9 experience, and George, you made 7.
Nice. Yep. I think that might be something I'll have to keep in my back pocket just in case we want to do this again sometime.
Yeah, for sure. This was a great game.
Yeah.
You know, it's sort of a weird hurrah moment. That is the first time, at least in a live podcast of Daytrippers, that anyone has failed their going home roll and ended up in a different reality. So, yeah.
Thanks a lot, Caleb.
So there is that.
Yep, exactly. That's awesome.
Well, feather in your cap there.
Yeah, no kidding. Awesome. Glad we could fail so miserably for that.
Well, you know what? We probably would have made that roll if I'd given you a chance to do it, but he clocked you so fucking hard. So it's really, it took both of you to fuck up this bad. You guys are
totally.
You guys are a team.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, exactly. We will fail and eyeball hell together.
Hey, well, if we have to, we can always shoot them. We've got concussion missiles or concussion.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, there you go. We'll fire at the red, angry, naked guy. Boy, that All right. Well, thanks again to Todd for GMing this. Thank you to John. I almost called you Caleb. Thank you, John, for sitting in and playing this game with me. Daytrippers, you can get it on Drive Through RPG. You can get it on what is it? asifproductions.com.
That is my studio site, but it also has its own
Okay.
site, daytrippersrpg.com.
Perfect.
You can also get it at Amazon.
Oh, awesome. Nice. So grab that. If you like what you've heard here and you want to hear more, John on Legends of Tabletop, they stream a game. What is that every week now, or is that?
Oh no, it's once a month.
Yeah, we
Once a
play
month.
live once a month. And then because we have 4 ongoing campaigns, our cycle is about 2 months because we release 2 episodes in a row. So each session winds up being 2 episodes, so 8 weeks. So if you like just Daytrippers, you're going to hear it about every 2 months.
There's a lot to catch up on, though. We're like session 18, I think.
Yeah, we're 17 in.
Yep. I've tried to binge it myself and have gotten not as far as I had hoped. I actually told John, I was like, man, I think I'm almost caught up. And then I look and I'm like, whoa, I'm not even close. But it's a good game. It got some good players in that game too.
The tortured psyches of Jack Nash and Reggie Carlisle.
Yeah. They're a mess.
All right. So if you like this, definitely buy Daytrippers, play it yourself. If you want to play with us too, give us a call. We'll do that too. It'd be something that would be fun to play in the future also. So
for sure, we will get in your head and we will pull shit out and then we'll put it back in your head.
Exactly. So thank you again to you two gentlemen. Thank you guys for tuning in. And until next time, I'm Kurt, and this was the MFG Cast.
See ya.
Bye.